All right, today we are diving into a novel that is, well, it's as chaotic, beautiful, and heartbreaking as India itself. We're talking about Arundhati Roy's The Ministry of Utmost Happiness. And, this isn't just a book that tells a story. It feels like it's trying to capture the very soul of a nation in its pages.
The novel actually ends with a question that, in a way, defines the whole thing. It asks, how to tell a shattered story. And wow, what a question. That is the huge, monumental challenge Arundhati Roy takes on.
And her answer? Well, it's just as ambitious as the question. The way she tries to tell this shattered story is by weaving together just countless lives and histories. It's like she's trying to become everything and everyone all at once. So let's take a look at how she actually pulls this off.
So where do we find the heart of this novel? You might think it's in a grand palace, or maybe a parliament building, but no. It's in a much, much more unlikely place, a graveyard. A graveyard that's been transformed into a home by one of the most unforgettable characters you'll ever meet in literature, a woman named Anjum. Okay, so to really get what this place is all about, there's one word you need to know. Jannat. It's the Arabic word for paradise, or heaven. And that's what Anjum names her guest house, right there in the middle of the graveyard. Jannat.
So what Roy does here is create this incredibly powerful contrast. Think about it. On one side, you've got the dunya. That's the world, right? The chaotic, often violent, real world just outside the walls. But on the other side, inside, you have Jannat, this paradoxical paradise. Anjum creates a safe haven, a sanctuary for anyone who just doesn't fit into the world as it is. She literally builds a heaven in a place of death.
And just look at who lives in this so-called paradise. First, there's Anjum, who is intersex. Then you have a man from one of India's most oppressed castes, the Dalits, who decides to rename himself Saddam Hussein. I mean, it's a home for a whole community of outcasts and misfits. And that's the whole point, isn't it? It perfectly illustrates this core idea in the book, that real paradise isn't some exclusive club. It's a place of radical, total inclusion where absolutely everyone is welcome.
Okay, so this tiny, personal paradise, it's not just a hideaway, it's actually a lens. It's the lens the novel uses to look at a much, much bigger story, that massive, shattered story of the Indian nation itself.
And the book just throws us right into the thick of it. We're in the middle of the 2011 anti-corruption movement. You might remember it, this huge protest led by an activist who was styled after Gandhi. It was this moment of just incredible hope. It felt like the whole country was holding its breath, feeling like maybe, just maybe, a new, better world was actually possible.
But see, the novel was written years after all that, and so it asks a really tough question. Did that movement actually end corruption? Or did it just, pave the way for a different kind of power to take over? The book isn't just celebrating that initial spark of hope, it's bravely looking at the complicated and often really messy aftermath.
And this questioning of these big, grand national stories, it goes even deeper when the novel turns to one of the country's most painful conflicts, the one in Kashmir. There's this one sequence that just perfectly captures the layers of tragedy there. So first, you have militants who shut down a local movie theater. They call it a form of cultural intrusion. Just like that, a place for art, for community, is shuttered in the name of ideology.
And then, in a turn of just grim, unbelievable irony, that same silent cinema gets taken over by the Indian Army, and it's turned into an interrogation center. A place that was meant for dreams becomes a place of nightmares. It's such a powerful symbol for how violence just creates more violence, trapping everyone in this awful cycle.
The book also takes on one of the most powerful ideas in India and really starts to pull it apart. And that's the whole concept of motherhood. Not just on a personal level, but as a big national, political symbol.
So you have these two very different, very powerful ideas of motherhood clashing in the story. On one hand, you have personal motherhood, the real kind, flawed, messy, and chosen. You see characters like Anjum and another woman, Tilotoma, become mothers not because they gave birth, but through these incredible acts of care. And then, set against that, you have the political ideal of Bharat Mata, Mother India. And the novel shows how that idea can be, weaponized, used to demand absolute loyalty, and even to justify violence.
And this whole political idea often gets boiled down to one single powerful slogan. It's a cry you hear echoing through all the political turmoil in the book, Bharat Mata Ki Jai, which means victory to Mother India.
But this is where the novel draws a really stark contrast between that ideal and the reality on the ground. The book neutrally shows how this exact slogan is chanted during acts of violence committed against the nation's own citizens, people who are, metaphorically speaking, also the children of Mother India. It's a powerful critique of how a beautiful idea can get twisted to serve a really aggressive, exclusive form of nationalism.
So, after all of this, all this brokenness, this conflict, where on earth does the novel find any hope? Well, the answer is maybe the book's most powerful message. Hope isn't found with the powerful or the pure, it's found in what's been thrown away.
Roy's argument here is that the future doesn't belong to the powerful people at the top. No, it belongs to the people and even the things that have been discarded, the parts of society that are considered unclean or just unimportant. The novel seems to be suggesting that if you're going to build a new world, you have to build it from the refuse of the old one.
And right at the very heart of all this hope is one single tiny person, an abandoned baby, a baby found in a garbage dump, who is brought to the Janet guest house.
But this baby, she doesn't get a conventional family. Not at all. She's raised by this whole community of outcasts. The book says she has 6 fathers and 3 mothers. I mean, that is the novel's truly radical vision of what a family can be. It's a community built not on blood, but on love and just shared survival.
And this whole theme gets reinforced by one last really humble little symbol. The dung beetle. Yeah, the dung beetle. An insect that literally creates life from waste. It rolls its eggs in dung. It becomes this perfect, beautiful metaphor for the novel's vision of resilience and of rebirth.
So at the end of it all, we're left with this final, really thought-provoking question that kind of wraps up the entire novel. By gathering up all these shattered pieces, the forgotten people, the broken histories, can we actually build something new, something whole, something hopeful? The Ministry of Utmost Happiness seems to suggest that, yeah, it's not only possible, it might just be the only way forward.